ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 9 of Robbie T Interviews. My guest today is host of NBC's George to the Rescue, Mr. George Oliphant. George, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for being here.
Robbie, so great to be hanging out with you again, my friend.
Yeah. For those,
I like the hard hat. It's looking
yeah,
good.
definitely. I'm going to share the story about this in a couple minutes. For those of you who don't know, George and his amazing crew at George to the Rescue pick people who are going through tough times and give them awesome home renovations that make their lives easier and safer and really provide comfort to them when they're going through hard times. It is truly a life-changing experience, and George, my man, you are a remarkable person. And I should know because I was fortunate enough to be picked back in 2015, seems like forever ago, for a home renovation, and George generously redid my room and my bathroom, and honestly, it came out remarkable. It has helped me so much, and George, I am forever grateful for you and your crew, so thank you.
Hey, please. It was my pleasure. You're welcome. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Honestly, I hate to be cocky, but I think I have the nicest room in like the USA. It's so nice.
Your room was sweet. I liked it a lot, and I liked that there was no squirrels in the ceiling either. So
yeah, there was a couple of it was in mold, right?
We had a little mold. We had a nest, but they had moved out, which I guess your dad knew that there had been some sort of activity and had them evicted earlier. But nonetheless, no residual friends had come back. And and your bathroom was great. It was a really fun project. And like I said, we got to go to Stomp, which is another former rescue. It's the only time we've ever done a show of any sort. So
yeah, I got
bringing those worlds together.
Perform on stage with everybody. It was an unbelievable experience I'll never forget. And for those who want to watch the episode, it's on YouTube under my name. But first of all, George, how are you doing and your family doing during these crazy times?
We're doing great. I mean, as great as you can be. My kids just finished school. School goes late here in New Jersey, and my oldest, George, just graduated from elementary school, so that was exciting. My first graduate, even though it's only graduating from elementary to middle school. It's
still
a step.
An accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment. So that's been the big halves here. All the kids are ready for summer, but obviously trying to figure out like what is summer, because there's all these rules, like can you go to pools? Summer camp's been canceled.
Yeah.
But my wife is from Vermont, and grandma's up there, so I think we're gonna make a couple runs up to the Green Mountains and hopefully have some fun playing in nature. And I don't know. The rescue has been on hold basically since the pandemic started. I've been doing something kind of similar called house calls, where I was doing some Zoom calls and checking in with families and seeing what they've been up to.
Yeah.
And then I did some. That the people talk about all those projects they saved for a rainy day. Well, the day came. And my wife, she put my feet to the fire and was like, "Hey, hon, remember you said you were going to do this? Well, we have time." So I've literally been plugging away. I have probably never worked harder on my own house or like physically, like with my own hands, than I have in the last 3 months. I have been doing anything and everything. Small projects, nothing huge, but just a lot of little projects, which just, as I said at one time, I probably had 20 projects going. And I was somewhere between 25 and 75% done on each project, because I was like, I start one, I'm like, oh, I'm going to come back to this, or I come back to that. Now I'd say I've got 5 to 7 projects left. So I have finished quite a few, and I would say over 50% done on all of them. So there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Same with my dad. All of a sudden during quarantine, he's like painting, walls, and we did a roof, He's gonna redo the floors eventually. Same with you.
I'm not surprised. Cut from a similar cloth. Idle hands. You just can't sit still. You're men of action.
Yep. So George, where did you go to college, and then what did you study?
I went to the University of Colorado. I'm a proud University of Colorado Buffalo
Nice.
I bleed black and gold. I grew up in Colorado. Funny story is that when I graduated from the University of Colorado, I called my parents and I said, listen, good news and bad news. Good news is I achieved my life goal. The bad news is I don't know what to do with myself now, because all I ever wanted to do was be a student at the University of Colorado. My dad was an alumni. He had taken me to the University of Colorado football games as a kid. And so I just it was more than just going to college. It was a whole experience for me. And
Yeah.
I was actually able to parlay that, not immediately. I did a lot of other jobs in between, but into working for MTVU, which was MTV's college channel. So I actually became what I always wanted to be, which is a permanent college kid. Not always, but I was able to make it an extended. Most people go to school for 4 years. I probably spent 8 years in the college world. So, and I'm not a doctor, so it's crazy.
What did you get your degree in?
I got my degree in film and theater.
Nice.
I went to school. I was going to be a history major, and then I realized as I was taking my 5th Western Civ class that I'd already studied all of this so many times that nothing was changing because it's history. And one of my roommates was a film major, and I came home and he was playing with a Super 8 camera, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Let's go shoot something." And I was hooked. I was like, "That's I what they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life." And I was like, I really like this. And I'd always loved theater. I did children's theater from when I was in 4th grade. I remember being devastated when I didn't get cast in the play when I was in 3rd grade. It was one of the reasons I really loved your story, because I felt that kinship, and that we both are theater guys.
Yes.
And so I actually, people are like, "Oh, why did you move to New York?" I moved to New York to do Broadway. I figured if I wasn't going to if I wasn't going to perform on the stages, I would build the stages. And my senior year or junior, I did an extra semester. So my 5th year at University of Colorado, I really got into set building. And that's really when I started to actually kind of make that turn towards, I guess, being handy. I'd worked in construction before that, but that was when I was like, I just love all elements of theater, whether it's set design, the building of the stages, or performing the plays themselves.
Yeah. How many shows have you seen on Broadway?
I couldn't tell you. I should keep better count like you do, but my grandmother took me to Peter Pan with Sandy Duncan when I was 5 years old.
Yep.
And I was hooked. I said, this is the world I want to be a part of. And from then on, I live in the house that my grandparents lived in New Jersey. Like I said, I was raised in Colorado. So I would come out to New Jersey every Christmas with my family. And every year, my grandparents would take me to Broadway for a show. So from when I was 5 and so now I'm 44, I've seen at least one show a year. And obviously many years I've seen more than one show. So I've seen quite a few.
Yeah, I think I've seen over 70. Yeah.
You may, although, and you've lived on this earth only about a quarter of my time, and you've probably seen about the same amount of shows. You are, that is something. I don't think there's a show that's come on Broadway that you haven't seen if you had the ability to.
There is. I wish I could see everything, but it's so expensive, And
it is.
And the prices will only go up, unfortunately, after this COVID situation. So what was your first gig in television, and how did you come about to get that?
So my first gig in television, so my very first, this is an exclusive interview. My very first thing I ever did, I was cast in the film as an extra, Kate and Leopold, with Hugh Jackman and I can't remember who Kate is right now. I don't think it was. I'm forgetting who Kate is. Anyhow, and I was an extra in the very beginning, and I had just moved to New York, and I was like, "Oh, this is it. This is my break. This is how people, get." And I got. I remember I was sitting there, and this is where honesty, I guess, is good. Karma came down, but I was sitting there, and I was supposed to be a bridge worker. We were building the Brooklyn Bridge, and this woman came up to me, some person who was with the crew, and she's like, "Are you SAG?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Are you SAG?" And I was like, no. And I knew I should have just lied and said I was SAG. And she's
Yeah.
like, okay, sorry. And she went and grabbed somebody else. And I was like, oh, why did you have to be honest? So, you know, it was my very first thing. Not, who knows what that would have led to, but maybe I would have said a line. Anyhow, Liev Schreiber running past me. So that was my very first thing. Right when I got to New York, I got headshots and I just started, oops, I lost you for a second there. What just happened?
Oh,
Hey, sorry, I don't know what happened there, but
no problem.
I did Kate and Leopold. That was my very first ever production, I guess, real production.
Yeah.
And as an extra, and then I was also cast as an extra in that same summer, as in the Royal Tenenbaums, one of my favorite movies. And
Yes.
I remember this security guard kept coming up to me and he said, Owen Wilson, you're Owen Wilson. And I was like, I'm not Owen Wilson. And he said, no, I know Owen Wilson's over there, because I was an extra. But he's like, you look just like him. You should be his stunt double or his body double. And I was like, hey, go tell him. I'd be happy to be Owen Wilson's body double right now. And then that was it. I didn't get cast in anything for a while. And then this was back when you still had backstage as like a newspaper instead of like online. And I started just auditioning for things. And I did touring children's theater out of the George Street Playhouse in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And at the same time, they were doing the pilot for Open House for MTVU. They were launching the channel, and a good friend of mine was part of that startup. And he like I said, he's like, oh, my friend is like Mr. College Guy. You should, you know, give him an audition. And they gave me a 2-week audition, or they gave me an audition, then they gave me a 2-week trial. And in the midst of my second week, they called me up and said, would you be available to go to an MTV spring break as a VJ? I was like, wow. Yeah, I guess so. And knock on wood, that was in 2003. I haven't been off TV since. So I'm just kind of grinding it out over the last 17 years. But it's been an amazing ride. And people, my friends back in Colorado, like, I thought you went to New York to be an actor. I'm like, I do. I play a home improvement television host. Haven't you ever seen me?
Yeah. So 6 to 17 years, besides George to the Rescue, what else have you been in? TV shows?
So I've done. So I was on MTVU. I was one of the original VJs on MTVU, which was a college television focused MTV, which is still music, but it was music, a little bit more politics, a little bit more news. Yeah. I hosted a show called The Dean's List, which was the top 10 videos voted on each week by college students. So it's like what they wanted to hear, what they wanted to see. And I did almost 50 episodes of that over the course of, about 2 years. Then I left there, or transitioned within the company at MTV when HD became a thing in 2006, and was part of the founding team that we did. It was called MHD at the time, Music in High Definition. And it was because there was so little programming in HD at the time, it was a combination of all of MTV's channels. So it was CMT, VH1, MTV, and MTV2. So you really had the whole a variety. Like I did a show on MHD called Uncompressed, and it was like, it was a time, again, it wasn't really a top 10 because there was only like 12 actually videos when we started shooting that were in HD, but it was just, we were showing these videos. But you go from like a rap video to like a country song to like a jam band. I don't know we didn't really know who our audience was, but we just knew, hey, music fans like HD, we're going to do something cool. And we filmed all that in Colorado, which was cool because I got to go back to my home state and be a host there and film at a ski resort for a winter, which was unbelievable. Like probably the best. I pinch myself sometimes. I'm like, why didn't I just why did I sleep during those 6 months? I should have been just taking advantage of everything, which I took a lot of advantage, but there's always those things like, oh man.
Yeah, everybody has those. So how did you come about to get your spot on George to the Rescue?
Basically what happened was I was doing MHD's uncompressed. And my boss, Morgan Hertzan, who was the producer of MHD, he came to me and my producer out there, and he's like, "Listen, I am leaving. I'm starting a company called LXTV, and it's going to be it's broadband. It's going to be short form. It's and we are going to be on your phones. And this is way ahead of the time. This was like summer of 2006. They didn't really, and they weren't sure what they were going to do with MHD because they, like I said, when we first started, we were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what worked.
Yeah.
And so I basically was in this small lull of not consistent working, and I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And he's like, I want you to be my like sports guy. I want you to do like these different workouts. I want you. This is the long answer, by the way, but that's just because I want to give you all the meat.
Yes.
But so so I was like the original, like what people now see as First Look, which airs after Saturday Night Live. Originally, it was just a variety show. It was a bunch of different hosts going around New York City specifically, and then we branched out all over the country to check out restaurants, workouts, nightlife, whatever there might be in the city. It was kind of like a travel guide, but video guide. I mean, it seems like, of course, everybody does that now, but nobody was doing it then. So we were a little bit ahead of our time, and we ended up. I have to give credit to my boss, Morgan. He came up with the idea. He's like, we're going to do a show called Open House, and we're going to sell it to NBC. NBC is interested. I've been, spitballing this with them. And he's like, he had Sarah Gore, and I knew Sarah. Sarah was basically, at that time, it only worked with, she was like the restaurant girl. I was like the workout guy. And she's like, Sarah's going to be the host, and you're going to be like the nuts and bolts guy. And we're going to, show apartments. We're going to do what Open House, is still. And then we're going to have a little take-home segment where you're going to give some people a little bit of a, how-to if they wanted to replicate something they saw in one of these apartments. And I was like, okay, let's give it a whirl. I don't think home improvement television is my game. Like, so that's not really what I've been doing. I'm music, I'm sports. I was like, I reference that's way too old for you, but a guy named Dan Cortez, he used to be MTV sports guy, and I was like what I would call a demonstration journalist. Somebody was doing it. I'm like, I want to do it. I want to tell, and I want to share this experience with an audience. And but I was like, you know what? I will give anything a try once, and we'll see how it goes. And I signed on for 12 episodes, and it was a big summer because my sister was getting married, and my brother was graduating, and I was going to Spain to run with the Bulls, which is another story. And and I was like, and I was dating my wife, but we weren't engaged yet, and so I was just like, oh man, I don't know, this is like very grown-up TV versus all like the, very just less serious stuff before that. And but I did these 12 episodes. And at the end, my boss was like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't really like it. And he's like, why? What don't you like? I'm like, I don't really care about like showing somebody like a how to do this, that, or something in the room. Like, I want to, like, the only episodes I've liked is where we've come in, we've done something, and we've left somebody with something better. And he's like, oh, I like that. Open House to the rescue. I was like, And so we started doing these 5-minute segments where we actually made a little bit of a change. Nothing compared to what George to Rescue is, but we'd come in and we'd revamp one room, or not even a room. We'd maybe, declutter, or we'd paint, or we'd add light, or we'd just kind of get to one of those honeydew projects that somebody has that's just been hanging over their head. And people liked it, and I liked doing it, and it was infectious because you're doing something to help somebody else. And at the same time, you are teaching somebody how to do something, because before that, it was just like show and tell. Like, here's a house with a pool. So we started doing bigger and better projects. So like it started out with like putting in hi-hats or putting in trim, to where we actually did bathrooms, and we did laundry rooms, and then we did this kitchen. And when we did the kitchen, it was so much effort went into making this kitchen. This was in the summer or spring of 2009, and we went to still my executive producer today, Andrew Sherbo. Andy and I went to our bosses and we said, you have to make this an Open House to the Rescue special. Like, we can't fit all the stuff we've done and all the people who have contributed to make this happen for this guy Al Kaplan and his niece and nephew who he had adopted, who had lost their parents in like shorter within like a couple of months, and they were just at that adolescent age. Like I think she was 11 and he was like 13, and it was a horrible situation. That's the really hard part about George Rescue. I always say it's like, obviously I love doing everything I've done for all the families, but I would rather them not have to have me. I would rather you not be dealing with EB. I would rather anyone not be dealing with a spinal cord injury or a sick kid or a past person. I'd rather not come to your door, but if I can, if you need me, I want to be able to do that. And so we did this episode, and they said, okay. It was funny now because now everyone, loves George Rescue, but it's weird where things come from, because they were like, well, we don't want George Rescue, we don't want to confuse our open house viewers, and we don't want to cannibalize open house, and you have a segment and everyone likes your segment. It's like very much stay in your lane and like you're doing good. But the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and we got this half-hour special. It ended up airing in the summer, where it was kind of a safe play, I guess, now that I've learned about like networks and television and whatnot. And it's still in the summer, it was gangbusters. People were like, "Oh my gosh, I love this episode!" And it got great ratings, and people were writing in, and they're like, "Do another one of those." And so then people, our producers were like, let's do another one. And we did another one, and then they're like, "Oh, we want to do 6." And that was in the summer of 2010. We got greenlit for 6 episodes of George to the Rescue, and we're by the time we hit this fall, we'll have like 126 under our belt, which is insane. I don't even know how that happened. I don't know where 11 years have gone. This all started, which I didn't think I'd be in New York for. I came from Colorado to kind of see if I could get involved in the world of theater and film, and expected to go back to Colorado and work in construction probably, or maybe be a teacher. I don't know, theater director, but local theater. I didn't think I'd do. And just the train is continuing to motor on.
That's an amazing story. So of course you do tons of renovations. How many renovations do you do a season?
We do 12 episodes a season. And so we do 6 that air in the spring and then 6 that air in the fall. This year was a little different. We only were able to get 4 done because of COVID, because of the everything that's going on. And then, but we are planning to do 8 for the fall. So they're going to be a little bit different this fall, just because we just don't have the time and the ability, and obviously it's still not safe to really go into people's houses and especially displace them to the degree that we did. I mean, you were in a hotel for 3 weeks, right?
Yeah, 4 weeks, I think. Yeah,
4 weeks. Yeah, I was being nice. A rescue usually takes somewhere between 3 and 7 weeks. So that being said, we didn't want to. So we're trying to do more where we really focus on the amazing people. That's another great thing about George Rescue. We have met so many amazing people like yourself, and we want to be able to kind of maybe tell a little bit more of their story, and maybe some people who are involved with organizations and tell a little bit more of the organization stories, or even have a couple stories all lumped together in one specific episode, and then find somebody within that or an organization within that and do something, but not to the same scale. But that's really just a kind of an offshoot for this particular fall. That's not, I don't think, they're going to be the norm going forward. It's just kind of, we still will get 12 George Rescue's new episodes out this year. 12 families or people or organizations will be affected in a positive way because of our show, which is great and I'm very proud of. But and then hopefully gear up once things hopefully become back to normal, at least on the health front. We'll hopefully continue to keep on keeping on.
Amen. So, do you have to travel a lot for the show?
I travel a lot in the tri-state area. I travel all over Long Island, all over New Jersey. I've gone down to Philadelphia. I've gone up to Connecticut. I've traveled to Arizona, and I've traveled to California and to Texas and to Chicago and to Minnesota, North Carolina. But really in the beginning years of George Rescue, like seasons 1 through 3 or 4, we traveled at least once or twice a season. Now it's pretty much all takes place in the tri-state area, unless We have like a show, somebody else backing us, because construction's not cheap. And although we get amazing discounts, we have unbelievably generous friends who donate time, materials, effort, whatever it is. It still
Yeah.
costs money. It's just there's no way around that. And we have found that we can do more with our money if we put it towards the production and the construction, and we can make a bigger difference in those people's lives than it. And we don't have enough to do travel and production. So unless somebody else is picking up
Yes.
the travel, which some amazing companies have. Got Your Six brought us to LA to help a 3-time Purple Heart recipient. Gary Sinise Foundation has helped us out. The Meredith Vieira Show, the Today Show, have all helped us out and had us go and help families. And they picked up the travel side, the hotels and the flights, and then we were
Yes.
able to, use our budget towards construction and production.
Did you say Gary Sinise?
Gary Sinise, yeah, the Gary Sinise Foundation, they're
Lieutenant
amazing. I
Dan.
mean, yeah.
I love that movie.
Lieutenant Dan, it's unbelievable. And he has a replica bench, and like this giant, like literally the whole wall is that park. And you sit on the
Wow.
bench, and I think it's in my Instagram somewhere. But yeah, I sat there with Gary Sinise with a box of chocolates. I should have been sitting there with Tom Hanks, but I guess me and Gary we're waiting at the bus stop.
Yeah. So how do you go about picking who gets a renovation?
Um, it's it's not easy, obviously. There's so many deserving people out there. We want to help everyone we can. Obviously, regional, it makes a big difference, because since the show is produced here in the New York tri-state area, although the population is immense, it does cut
Yes.
out pretty much the whole, 3/4 of the country. So, and not entirely. You never, like I said, you never know if another show, maybe Ellen, if she's watching, she wants us to do a rescue in conjunction with her.
Yeah.
And we'll go anywhere. I mean, we have a very small team. We know what we're doing. We have a great reputation, and we work with really good contractors. And that's my dream. My dream is to do the show, and just kind of have pods everywhere and be able to do across the country, across the world. I mean,
Yeah.
through the internet now, through how easy it is for us all to be, on a global community. I can't tell you how many people I get write-ins from on our YouTube page, from the Philippines, from the UK, from Germany,
Wow.
from India, from South America. It's like, so people are watching, and there's definitely, there's a lot of people that could use a hand up. What I always say about George Rescue is everyone's plates are full, and we just want to try to take that home improvement aspect off the plate. You're still going to have to deal with all the other crazy stuff that's going on in your life, but if we can take that
Yes.
little chunk off your shoulders, that's what we'd like to do. And so I know I totally digress, but anyways, how do we get people? We Through the George the Rescue website, people will submit their stories. My advice, and if you're watching, my advice is, give me the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Obviously we love all the accolades. That's really nice, but how can we help? What's going on? Why do you need it? And what would this do for you? Or for your family member, or for your friend, or your neighbor, somebody you heard about. We heard about you through the Ellen Show. We saw my producer,
Yeah.
Andy Sherbo's wife, saw you, and she's like, that guy, he lives, two towns down, East Meadow. You should see if he could use a rescue. And that's how you came
Yeah.
to be rescued, because we're looking for people. Like an amazing kid named Sparsh Shaw. I was sitting with my dad watching TV. My dad, thankfully, used to keep the TV on NBC. He's watching Little Big Shots. And I was like, why are you watching this? This kid, Sparsh Shaw, comes on, starts rapping. He's in a wheelchair. And I was like, oh my gosh, this kid is so inspiring. And
Yeah.
we did some research. We found out that he lived in Linden, New Jersey. He could have lived in India for all I knew, but we found out, and serendipitously, he lived in our wheelhouse, and we were able to go and do a rescue for him. So sometimes I'm always looking. I literally am always looking for people to help. People send me a lot of DMs, and then, like I said, the George the Rescue website, and then word of mouth. People tell us about families they know. That's one of the things, beautiful things of the show is that, people who we've helped say, they pay it forward. They're like, oh, I know somebody else who could use some help. I know another person, because you're not alone. There's other people that are going through what you're going through. So it's, you have that community. And if we can jump in, we can help another person in that community. We're all about it. And, other than that, civil servants, anyone who puts their life second and puts others first, teachers, nurses, firefighters, military personnel, police, we always want to say, listen, you're already out there, seeing what you can do for your fellow man. What can we do for you? Man, woman. I'm talking.
Yeah. So before you talked about you wanted to be a set designer for Broadway, but I was wondering, before George to the Rescue, did you have any experience with construction? What was your experience like with home improvement?
I did. I got into construction when I was young. Young, like 15. My dad made me get a summer job, and a woman who worked for my dad, her husband was a painter, and he had a painting company, and he could use guys who were low on, who were entry level, and just wanted the grunts. They wanted to, just get them out there, and he was amazing. I said I worked for a painter for 4 years, and it took 2 years till he let me touch a brush. Like, I learned. It's funny that 3M is one of my sponsors, because it literally was all I used. I was sandpaper, blue tape. I was the guy who was prepping. I always prepped so that when the people with the skill came in, the house was ready. And so I started working for a painter during the summers when I was 15, and I did that all the way up until through college. And then I'd always worked for Bucky, or whenever I was around. His name was Bucky. Pinnacle Paint, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Amazing guy, still doing it. And so he got me into the business of at least the construction business, even though a lot of people say, oh, were you a contractor first and then a home improvement host later? And I was like, no, I have some home improvement skills. I have a small, resume, but no, I came to New York to entertain, and I just, and again, like I just told you, I never thought this was the avenue that I was going to take towards entertainment.
But you get to both worlds, right? Because you still entertain with the show, and then you get to help people. I mean, that's amazing.
I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly it. You don't know what God has in store for you, and that's why you never. I try never to let any door close. I try to always see what's out there and just follow the path, because somebody else can tell me they have the best job in the world. I think I have the best job in the world, because I do get to make a difference in the world, and I'm very passionate about that. And I don't ever want people to think it's smoke and mirrors. And I know that construction television on the whole gets a bad rep, and so I always try to segregate myself from home improvement television, as we are a human interest show that uses home improvement to tell the story. So I was when I said I was a film and theater, so the film side, I was a documentary film major. So I understand how to tell the story, and then at the same time, the construction side, just, I feel, that's a way to actually do something, leave something that's tangible. I felt that when you watch the news, it's always like doom and gloom, and here's a horrible story, and boo-hoo, and this and that. And I'm like, well, and then why don't you go in there and like tell that story? But then what's the next chapter? Why can't there be a next chapter? What happens tomorrow? How come we can't go in there and do something, just something small, but something small could be a catalyst to something bigger down the road. And so it's all about just those little changes and helping, your neighbor and being I always, you think global, but you act local. And if you can do something in your community, and then I've been able to grow in the biggest community in the country, at least, and do a lot of stuff here.
So of course you don't do all the renovations by yourself. That would be impossible. So how do you get contractors involved in the show?
Well, first, I got to give credit to all of the contractors, the designers, the laborers, the guys hanging drywall, the painters, anyone you see who comes to our house on a construction project. The ones who are helping us on George to Rescue are phenomenal.
They are.
And just literally hearts of gold. they are doing it for pennies on the dollar. Nobody makes a profit on George to the Rescue. It's all it's literally they're taking time away from a paying job to come and help us do something for somebody who really needs it. And the way we get them is really, I think it was by building up slow, by building up and people seeing that we were who we were and that we have a reputation, and that good contractors, quality people want to work with quality people, and they want to do something good for others. And I think that our show allows them that platform to go out and say, you know what, this guy's legit and this is doing something. And a lot of stuff, I don't know what's going on behind the wall, but this one, we're true blue. And I think that resonates, and that's how we get people. And then thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had a bad review or a bad situation, and I hope we never do. And so thus, we've been able to work with really good people, and people come back. And actually, just to cement that story, with my very, very first episode of George to Rescue, not the pilot, but the first, was a girl named Katie Hansen who lives out in Long Island, out in Quorum, I think. She may have moved, but she was episode 1. She was 3, now she's like 13. It's crazy, and or 14 even. Anyhow, our contractor was a guy named Eamon Roche, and he said when he's done, he's like, I just want to thank you for allowing me to have the best time doing my job. And that meant a lot to me. And he's come back and done 2 or 3 since then. And many other contractors have said the same thing, that they really enjoyed the experience because it wasn't BS, that it really is, and that we do try and tackle everything we say we're going to tackle. I love to add extras. I get yelled at a lot by my contractors, by my designers, by my producers, because I always want to just push the envelope. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But it's I call it collateral damage, but the good kind. And we've been blessed by doing good, brings good, and we're lucky to work with amazing people.
That's awesome.
That was a really long-winded answer. I'm sorry.
No, it was awesome. That's an awesome answer. Very thoughtful, and I appreciate it. So, just for my episode, you had to deal with squirrels, nets, mold, and I think missing shingles. What are some of the other common problems you have to face with each rescue?
Man, I wish there was a playbook and you could just be like, oh, well, it's the can of worms. I mean, you never know. And that's what makes construction television so hard. And especially when you're doing something for somebody and you're on a fixed budget and you're dealing with stuff, because when I've had contractors who have ended up coming in thinking they were going to, donate a few $1,000s and then ended up spending $10,000 to $15,000 when they thought they'd be in for 5 to 7, multiple times. And it's because we do work with credible people, amazing people, and they're not going to walk out once they open these walls and find out, oh my gosh, this is a lot worse than I thought it was. But we've had termites, we've had, rot, we've had no foundations, no headers. We've opened up walls and you're like, I don't know who built this house, but they obviously, it never ceases to amaze me. I've learned to always be prepared for the worst and be excited when things are better than anticipated, which I found is a really good approach. Because before, when I first started, I was like, oh, it can't be that bad, it's gonna be fine. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, you have a timeline, and I don't want to leave you in a hotel for 4 to 7. That's how it goes from, oh, you're going to be in the hotel for 3 weeks to, oh, I'm sorry, you've been in the hotel for 7 weeks. I want to tell you that it's because your house, unfortunately, but lucky for you, we came through, was in way worse shape than anyone anticipated.
So here's a good question, I think. You have done so many home improvements. Do you have a favorite? Besides mine, of course.
Yours, of course, is my favorite. I've been asked this question before, and it's hard to ever say that I have a favorite. They're all obviously. I mean, you watch George Rescue, and you go from episode to episode. You'll see that it's great family and after great family, and that they, what we're doing is always something that they need. Everyone wants things, and this is always something that is needed. And but there's one episode that I'm probably the most proud of, and it was a job we did in New Jersey for a boy. He was 24 at the time. He's a quadriplegic. He'd been in a car accident, and we had two contractors come through and say that it just wasn't possible to do anything in his house. And again, like I said, off camera beforehand, when I travel with my friend Andrew Bank, who's the senior producer on George Rescue, I say I'm George and he's the rescue. Andrew got in there, met this family, and he's like, we're going to do something for them. We're going to rescue them. It was a single mother raising two boys. Her younger son was, in late teens, early 20s, I think 19 or 20, and then her older boy was the one who was in the accident, 24, still living at home. And, or definitely he was going to live at home forever now. And she was working all the time, never sleeping, doing everything she could. It's her son, And he was like, I'm going to make sure that we are able to help you. And he just, wouldn't take no as an answer. Got my friend Paul Lopa, phenomenal contractor. He's been on a couple of George Rescues. He came in, he's like, I'll do this. And Lavette Shrem was their designer. And Paul's dad died the day we did demo. And I was like, oh my gosh, like here we are in the biggest project. This house is in really bad shape. This family is in really bad shape. What are we going to do? And Paul shows up that next day and he's like, this is where my dad would want me to be. And we did it. And we didn't just do the bedroom and the bathroom. We ended up doing the whole first floor of the house. We did the kitchen and we did the outside. And like what I love so much about George Rescue is it is infectious and people just want to keep doing more. And that's where the timeline obviously also gets pushed sometimes. Sometimes people just like are in that giving mood and they're like, I can do this. I understand, this person needs it more than I do. And it's unbelievable. But that episode was definitely so many things had to be overcome for it to come to fruition, and it did, and it came out way better than ever expected. And so that's the one I'm the most proud of. But I love all the George Rescues, and again, I don't think that one is more important than another. And it's really just it's amazing to be able to do what we do.
Yeah. So of course, each episode has like I divide it into 3 segments. Like when you surprise somebody with the introduction, and then when you do actual construction, and then you do the reveal. What is your favorite part about each rescue, and like out of those 3 choices?
Favorite part? Definitely not the middle. I like to get that. I mean, it brings me the most stress because I want to do so much, and I have so many people pulling on me all these different ways, and I understand what it is to be a homeowner. So I find the middle part to be stressful. I love the reveal because I love bringing the families home. And I still get nervous. I honestly, after all, I always get a little nervous going up to people's doors and knocking on them and letting them know that we're coming to the rescue. I don't know. I mean, I should be excited, like, yeah, here's amazing news. But for some reason, I'm always just like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I don't know why I get nervous, but so I guess reveal, just to be able to show what we've been able to do and how many people have come together and just, the fruits of our labor incarnate. So I guess if I had to pick one segment, I love surprising people. That's where I get like the most jitters, and then probably the biggest high. But there's nothing like a reveal day. I mean, a reveal day.
Reveal is awesome.
Yeah, reveal days. There's nothing but positivity. And your reveal day, the guys from Stomp came out and did that thing in the. It was cool.
And all my teachers came out, and my friends and family. That was amazing.
I love that part. I love when the community just shows up. There is an amazing energy on reveal day. And it's something I wish you could bottle because it's the excitement and anticipation as the family. I can only imagine. I couldn't imagine if I just like, oh, I'm gonna leave this to somebody. That's where I obviously think the trust must really come in, because you can't just say, this is my house, this is my home, this is my sacred place, and I'm just going to leave it in your hands for 4 weeks and just let you have at it. Just trust that when all is said and done, it's going to be better than I left it. And so that's a big responsibility, and I don't take that lightly. And so that's why I also am very excited about Reveal Day, because I want to be like, listen, you trusted me and I didn't let you down. And not
Yes.
only was it me, it was all of these people. And I love it when the teachers and anyone who's contributed to the show are all there together. And it's like a family. It's a community. It's a great day. Reveal days are a great day.
That's where I got the hat on Reveal Day. It was on
You
my
did.
new cabinet,
Yep.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
what is it like having this job that you are able to change so many lives for the good? And it's a job. I mean, that I can only imagine.
Yeah. It's to go back to what I said about when I was in school, when when you do something you love, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah.
I it it's 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 undescribable. Because it's nothing I ever could have imagined. It's nothing I even dreamt of, because I thought I was gonna, like I said, I was gonna come here, I was gonna be an actor, maybe
Yeah.
the next Sean William Scott or something like that, like a quirky side guy. I didn't think leading man, but I didn't know. I was just like, I'm entertaining. I definitely can find like a bit and get a line here, a line there, and scratch away as a starving artist. Not, so I didn't really think. I didn't think about anything. No, I just didn't. I didn't really plan out like what my career path was going to be. Just kind of just wanted to do. I just didn't want to just do nothing. I wanted to be. When I was a freshman in college, in my philosophy class, and I still have this binder. I wrote there had these. It said University of Colorado had these mountains, and I said, be the change you want to see in the world. Obviously not my line, Gandhi's, but
Yes.
I wrote that down freshman year in college, and I just stuck with it. It's like my motto. And I mean, I know it's a lot of people's mantra,
Yeah.
but I just know obviously actions speak louder than words. And so I also didn't want to be just words. I wanted to be a man of action. And so this is just like that perfect thing. Like
Yeah.
I love people. I truly do just love humanity, and I love people. Before I even did George Rescue, when I got married at my wedding, my friend stood up and he said, "Everyone raise their hand who George has helped move," and it was like 30 people, because I'm just one of those guys. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just like, somebody calls and asks for help, I'm gonna come and help them. And small, big, what it is, if I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, at least I will do what I can. I'll supply tools or whatever effort I can. And so to be able to do a television show, have fun, be entertaining, and at the end of the day, leave somebody in a better place than we found them, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, that's awesome. So after doing over 120 renovations, you said before, that's amazing. What is the biggest takeaway from this job?
Oh man, that you well, one is to count your blessings and to appreciate every day and appreciate every minute, moment, because things change fast, and every
Yeah.
situation is different, obviously. But appreciate what you have, and make the most of every day. And I know those are old saws that people have said for a long time, but they're very true. And that there's a lot of good in the world. Unfortunately, the news, the media, people love drama. They love to
Yes.
focus on the negative. That's what gets the ratings. It's what gets the eyeballs. But it shouldn't be overlooked how many amazing people there are who
Including
want to
yourself.
go out, and thank you, and yourself and your family. Your parents are unbelievable people.
Thank you.
I haven't seen your sister in a long time, and I'm sure she's growing up to be an amazing person.
Yeah, she's 13 now,
And,
still balling.
yeah, well, that's a crazy time. I mean, I have a 12-year-old brother. Son, brother. Feels like my brother sometimes. Because he helps me take care of the other kids. But it's just there's so much good in the world. There's so many good people, and I just want I just I want them to get their due. And they don't do it because they want any sort of cred. That's just who they are. That's how they're wired, and people focus on the bad apples, but there's a lot more good than there is bad in this world. And that's what I've seen through George Rescue.
That's awesome. That's a great takeaway and great advice for people, something that people to live by.
Yeah.
Here's a question. You're out rescuing, it seems like every day. What do you do when you're not rescuing?
Well, I found a way to, keep myself busy, with 4 kids, dog. I have projects galore going on, in my own house. And then, my kids, my son was in the play and my other son was, part of the crew. So of course I had to volunteer to help, construct the sets. I helped coach, lacrosse. I help coach soccer. I keep myself busy. I burn the candle at both ends. I'm part of the lawn committee or the landscaping committee at my kid's school. Even though it's a public school and you would think that the town would take care of that. I don't know. Some things get overlooked. Yeah, we have a bunch of parents, moms and dads who go over there once or twice a year, do some weeding and planting and whatnot. And I'm very involved with my kids' lives and my community when I'm not with my bigger community, which is the George Rescue world. And then also through all the amazing people I met through George Rescue, I participate in a lot of their different charity events. Kids Need More, Got Your Six, the Gary Sinise Foundation, Rebuilding Together New York, Parkinson's Disease Foundation, you name it. I just did a walk for the Reeves Foundation. So, I try to, like I said from the get-go, my dad, you never, listen to your parents. Listen to your parents. They know, I guess.
I know.
My dad always used to tell me, I was like, so what kind of, kind of like what you like, what kind of films are you going to do? What kind of acting are you going to do? And I was like, oh, I don't know, Dad. I'll probably do historical epics, play like a pirate or a cowboy or who knows what, yada, yada. And he's like, I think that people are going to like you for you. And I'm like, Dad, nobody cares about George Oliphant. I'm like, I need to be some character in like a costume, and that's what people want. And sure enough, he was right. People like me for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
he was right. Well, you're an amazing person, George. So now I'm going to do something I call the lightning round. I do it every episode. These are like fun questions. For the following questions, I just want one-word answers, okay?
I try.
They're fun. Don't worry. All right. Number 1, favorite sport?
Favorite sport? To participate in, skiing, to watch, football.
Wow, how often do you ski? A lot?
I've been trying to ski as much as possible. I mean, I grew up in a ski town in Colorado. I was a ski racer all growing up. It's my favorite thing. It's where I feel the most free and released. If I didn't do George Rescue, I would want to live on like a mountain and just ski or follow the snow. Like surfers follow the waves. I'd like to follow the snow. I don't get up. Obviously, I live in New Jersey, but I get up. I try to get it, into the double digits each year at this point. 12, I find, is a good year. Anything over 15 is an excellent year. If I were to do anything more than that, I don't know what I would do. I'd float away.
That's an awesome hobby to have. Number 2, favorite TV show besides, of course, George the Rescue.
Favorite TV show? Man, I mean, so many TV shows. My favorite TV show. See, most of the TV that I watch is like Sports Center. Or like I love the Olympics and the World Cup. Like that is a television event for me. Like I just get so passionate about that stuff.
Live sports, right?
Okay, yeah. So live sports. I would say live sports are my favorite thing besides George Rescue.
Yeah, probably me too. I love Impractical Jokers too. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I mean, I love laughing. I mean, it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of my favorite shows. I could watch that anytime, any episode. I guess if I had to pick one. Which one?
The Office. You ever see that one?
Oh my gosh, I love The Office. My
So,
son was just watching The Office. I don't know how much of it's over his head, but I would sit down and watch it. The Simpsons are his. I love The Simpsons. Um, uh, Even Brooklyn Nine-Nine is good. My a good friend of mine wrote the show and directed the Detour, which has got I found there's some good laughs in there. So
yeah,
I support my friends and what they do in the world of television and film. Not that I have a
yeah.
ton of them, but the ones I do,
It's a,
I
'cause it's a
definitely
hard
watch for
industry.
sure. What?
It's a hard industry, so yeah, anything you
Oh
can
my
do.
gosh, anything you can do.
Here's an interesting one. How many plaid shirts do you own?
Um, Definitely north of 50. And I've given a lot away, and I'm going to my closet. I'm like, oh my god, and it's so many different like green plaids, blue plaids. I probably own a plaid for every week of the year. So I'd say at least 52 plaids, which is a lot of plaids.
I have a funny story for you. I had my mom was telling me you actually left one of your plaid shirts here after the renovation was done.
I did. I left
Yeah.
that's why I never wore it again. That's why I retired it at your house.
All right, favorite food.
My favorite food is probably nachos. I love Mexican food is definitely my favorite cuisine, and
Yeah,
depending on who's making them, I like nachos or quesadillas. I mean, I have a pretty diverse palate, but if I could only eat one thing, I mean, it would be really terrible for you just eating nachos, but I do love them. Or
yeah.
any sort of just like queso dip. I mean, I don't know. I just can't get enough. I just love spicy cheese. Is that wrong?
No, it's not. I like Italian food personally.
Italian food is ridiculous too. I mean, it's a close second.
Yeah,
Mozzarella sticks and queso dip are probably my two favorite things to eat.
yeah.
So,
I love dipping. That's what I love.
yeah,
All right. What is one thing you take to every rescue besides the plaid shirt, of course?
plaid shirt, little heart. I've always got to bring my hard hat, my safety gear. That hard, exactly. My hard hat has been it's probably expired. It probably is not even safe anymore. Now it's
It's
just
signed by you.
wardrobe. See? Well,
Yep.
look at that. The collector's item. It's one of a kind. Nobody else. And I picked the orange one specifically
Yes.
because your favorite color is orange and you're a Mets fan.
Yep. Diehard Mets fan.
Yeah.
Mets, Celtics, Giants. I don't watch hockey.
Hi.
A favorite movie.
Um, I would have to say Braveheart is my favorite movie. I got a lot of Scottish pride, and like
Yeah.
that is like
Mel
the
Gibson.
greatest. Mel Gibson was phenomenal, and it's just I'm sure there's a little fable there, but yeah,
Mine
Braveheart.
is mine is Joker. Have you seen that? It's recently new, but
Oh
it's
my
amazing.
god, phenomenal! I don't watch a lot of movies like more than one. Sometimes that movie I've watched on the air. Like I'll be on an airplane. I'm like, oh my,
Yeah.
his. I mean, you watch that and you're like, of course he's gonna win the Oscar. This is one of the best
Yeah.
performances I've ever seen.
Joaquin is probably my favorite actor. He's so amazing. All right, next
I
one.
think he's phenomenal.
Favorite actor or actress you choose?
My favorite actor is Brad Pitt. I think he's unbelievable. I mean, talking about doing wonderful performances. Obviously, he just got his credit for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I mean, you go way back to like 12 Monkeys or like
Yes.
Snatch. When I used to do auditions, I would do his part JD, which was his first role in Thelma and Louise. He was only in
Wow.
it for one scene, but it was a scene-stealing scene. And yeah, Brad Pitt is my guy. I've never met him. If he ever wanted to hang out, I'd love to do some charity, do whatever. And then I think Scarlett Johansson she's my
Yes.
favorite actress.
Recently nominated for 2 Oscars. Yes, she's amazing.
Yeah, and she unbelievable, and she is so good in so many different roles, and like she brings it. I mean, they both bring it. A lot of great actors do, but those are my two favorites.
Mine's Joaquin Phoenix, and then a toss-up between Melissa McCarthy and then Reese Witherspoon.
You can't go wrong. You can't, right? I mean, Melissa McCarthy never ceases to. She always makes me laugh, like hard belly laughs. I feel it because she brings that out in you.
I love the movie Identity Theft with her and Jason Bateman, who's also amazing.
Yep. Good movie. Great movie.
All right, here's a question that everybody seems to love. and you can't say George to the rescue for this. If your life was a movie, what would it be called, and who would play you?
Well, I guess it would, who would play me? Scott Can. Everyone seems to think that Scott Can
How about Owen Wilson?
looks exactly like me. So I would have to. I guess he'd have to be cast with me. I don't know. I did like him in Varsity Blues as tweeter. But what would it be called? I've been thinking about, because I was thinking about writing a book, and I very much will at some point. It's just, when do I have time? But I will. If there's any ghostwriters out there, hit me up. I You can't call it To the Rescue or George to the Rescue. I would what would I call the movie about me? Oh man,
How about George the Builder?
George the Bill. I would say Shoot from the hip, speak from the heart.
Nice.
Maybe that would just be like the description underneath, but something like that. The Rescuer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a new question that I came up with. If you could travel back in time, what year would you visit?
I think, I mean, if I wasn't going back in time to give myself some sort of advice, or like, push me in one way or the other, I would go way back. I would not way back, but I would probably want to go back to like the turn of the last century, like the beginning of the 1900s. I'm just fascinated with like kind of how it's not still so like like the world, like technology, not obviously not the technology of today, but the world is really starting to change, and
Yep.
especially with the knowledge of where we are now, I would love to just go there. And so many, like probably the 20s, maybe. I think that the 20s, let's call it 1923. I have no idea if 23 has been a good year to go back to, but I would really like to like, kind of see what the world was like back then, when my grandparents were young. When my parents, they're younger than I am.
I'm obsessed with Disney, and I would love to see like the World Fair and like how he came up with all that. Like, I don't know exactly what year
So
that
like
was.
like 1910, right? Like right around then.
I think it was more 1902, so it'd probably be like
No,
19.
The Chicago World Fair.
Yeah, the Walt Disney one. Yeah.
Okay, oh yeah. So yeah, I guess that would be 19. Yeah, that was the. I did I believe that was one that went to. There's one that was in Chicago. There was one that was in St. Louis. There's one they built the arch for.
All right, and the final question of our interview. So weird. I ask this every time. So everybody gives the same answer. It's so weird. Best interviewer in New York?
I mean, Robbie Twible, obviously.
I mean, 9 out of 9. That's so weird. Well, that concludes our interview. George, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy guy. And on behalf of everybody who's received or rescued by you and your amazing crew, thank you very much. You've changed my lives and changed many. So thank you, my friend.
Hey, Robbie, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I look forward to watching more of your videos. And thanks for having me on.
No, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope everyone is well. And until next week, I'm Robbie Twible. Take care, everybody.